You're listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry, presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So, the police officer just drove by, gave him the thumbs up and the high sign. How you doing? But then something came on the head, said, "Where are you at?" I said, "Well, I can't wear it all the time. As people get shaky jaked around here, you know, they're all drunk or something when they see it. And like, I don't want to trigger their PTSD all day. So we're trying to be nice. Plus, they cursed it off my head, so if I pick and choose when I wear it, it won't deplete all the energy. Again, God is not mocked, but God is also not, we should not tempt the Lord our God to have to protect us past a certain point. So one thing you should understand is when you pray, you may think your prayers are being answered by certain things. And then you might be true. It might be true. But when you pray, God sends me. That's how it generally works. And again, he can only send me as far as he can send me. If I was a millionaire, I could do a lot more and could have done a lot more. And again, we wouldn't be here because then what would have happened? Luke 10 would not have been triggered. So again, that curse that's worse than Sodom and Gomorrah would not have been triggered. And again, for all of you, you're not really understanding how it works. It doesn't have to be a COVID thing for it to actually be like a COVID thing. Again, the gun deaths that are occurring. And again, you know, a Democratic Party-run city, quote unquote, is a fraudulent statement. Every city has the same issues, and Republican cities are experiencing a large number of shootings. And again, that's only going to work for so far until they start, you know, playing with the figures and facts and all that, and all of a sudden their crime goes away because they lie. What they're doing is they're reducing their crime right now by changing how they calculate their stats. Again, they wouldn't be the only ones. However, the reality is if you would do what Jesus would do as a mayor, you're going to have higher crime than other communities. I remember they crucified Jesus. Even some of his own people turned on him. I mean, they speak about Peter, but Peter was one of the good guys, actually, that kind of denied him. But there are plenty that went over the other side that denied him. That's how they did it. And like I told you, God revealed to me that the legion of demons that Jesus put into the pigs ran down the hill and killed the physical body so their spirit would be free to possess others. So that's kind of a, you know, I mean, when you think of the biblical treasures that somebody could be given, you know, by God, that's a pretty big one. So what they did is once they were free, what did they do? They plotted against Jesus. So part of the crucifixion is the demon legion. That's who crucified Jesus, because they didn't, when the pigs died, they don't go to hell. They stayed here because people will them up and give them power. And eventually they start getting born into bodies. And then they run for president. And governor of Florida. So what'll happen is God will send me, and then you'll try to kill me, and then Luke 10 will... and you got to understand, God's got to be pretty angry. Your church is telling one story, and then it's another when I get here. In each one of the communities I've been in. Again, God is different than you can imagine. God is generally a docile and accepting being. So God, you know, let's try it. Let's see if it works. Well, I'm living this. That was weird, God. It was a breast in the sky. I don't know what that means, God. Hey, get your lights on over there, you booby. Turn your lights on. I guess that's what it meant. He's got like his, I don't know, a mattress on top of his roof with his lights off. He's got them on now. So that's what generally happens. And again, from God's point of view and God's perspective, if that's how you are, all of you, then it's okay because God will destroy the planet. Again, Jesus told you how it worked. I really socked that kid. I know what he was. He's coming up behind me with his dog, pulling him on a skateboard. And I'm like, I just heard, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, this day and age, people will come up and just kill you, right? Especially when the government's paying. Oh, look, 06 Hush. What does that mean? Somebody's got a Missouri temp tank. $228.23. Wait a minute. That the expires 228. How's this vehicle doing anything? So I don't know, this kid's out here on a skateboard getting pulled by his dog, which is great because the dog is getting exercise and it won't attack people as much. A lot of times that's what's happening with these dogs. They just get so frustrated from not living a normal life of exercise that, you know, it just pent up energy and anger. And again, God told me, you know, it's a shame that God would take all the pit bulls from the earth if you'd just stop all of you. And people wouldn't be attacked. I mean, they act like, well, there was no signs. Yes, it's a serial killer type of community, those pit bulls. Just never know when they're going to kill. But I've told people about the pinch collar. I mean, I don't know how many people use it or don't use it, but on a pit bull, you need a pinch collar. There's no doubt. I need it on an Australian cattle dog. Now, of course, you need it on German Shepherd. What you do is you put it up high on the ears, and it doesn't like dig in. You put it tight and high up on the ears, it doesn't dig in. It's pressure. And I've never seen anything work as well as a pinch collar. Now, some dogs, they go to the electric collar, but I've never had trouble with the pinch collar, but I never had a dog that was so civil that it would think about attacking me or anyone else that was just kind of around us, you know. So I don't know. I was looking at getting a paint sprayer for but the gold paint is the only one that's going to be liquid, and I'm going to paint the trim with that, and it's not that much. I can use a brush. I look for spray gold paint. It's just not quality. I have no idea how this planet creates price. If you were to take Metal Masters paints and recreate those in spray, the golds and stuff like that, gold, copper, silver, you'd corner the market. It's not out there. Everything else is like you have that like greenish and that brassy. But if you go and you look at the colors, last time I used on my ark was Olympic gold. Pharaoh's gold is nice, but don't call it Pharaoh's gold because you can't use it on the ark. Even though Egypt has done some well things, you know, like I said, Jesus, when he was being killed by Herod, or was going to be killed by Herod, Mary and Joseph fled with Jesus to Egypt. So again, you have to know what you're looking at when you look at the Bible. At that point, you know, God was, you know, happy with Egypt. because people like like I told you, I had a Jewish friend that was Egyptian when I was a kid, and we were Jewish, and it was kind of weird because when I was in an Orthodox school, so you're supposed to hate Egypt people. He was Egyptian, and he was Jewish on top of it, so it's kind of confusing. But it helped me understand things, I guess, as a kid, And then when I went to Egypt, I had the greatest time in the world. So it wasn't a nation that was going to kill me. I could probably survive in Egypt very well, but just getting there, I take that back. They would probably try to kill me now, so it would probably not be the same thing. People would be paying. But when I was in the Sinai Peninsula, I really got healthy. Things were well, mostly. Except Sammy Easterling tried to kill me. We were sitting there cleaning the bathroom with Trine one time, and Sammy was like this bodybuilder guy. I think I spoke about him before. I posted about him, tweeted, whatever it was. Good Christian guy, but he was kind of like Phil, the guy that was killed in the plane crash. He was more out about it. We spoke about things, Christianity a little bit, and but Sammy kept to himself. But he was, raised probably Baptist and all of that. He's from the South, and we were cleaning. I forget what I said, but I pissed Sammy off. And he came charging at me. Well, I don't know. We were all just annoyed at something, and we were cleaning the latrine. I forget what it was. No, I didn't go. I didn't charge you after Sammy. He didn't hit me or anything. I don't even know what happened. He's like, "Eh!" Well, he was like a real bodybuilder kind of dude. It's huge. But yeah, so I had a pretty good time in Egypt. That was the only time it was kind of weird, but I guess it was good. Sammy didn't touch me; he just ran me like, "Yeah!" So yeah, it is what it is. We were like privates. I went from Fort Leonard Wood to the 101st to Egypt. Pretty much, I spent probably about maybe 5 months or something. I was on my way to Egypt or something. And then I spent time over there. The plane crashed. Came back, went to aerosol school, and then when that was done, I was like starting to train up for Sapper. That was pretty much my Fort Campbell. It's pretty action-packed my first couple of years in the Army. And I didn't even know, I kept track of the Vietnam veterans that were around me. I don't know why I didn't know my platoon sergeant was a Vietnam veteran, unless he didn't wear the patch. I can't remember. Or did he? I got Chris Hoare, he didn't have a combat patch. But they said that he was in Vietnam and was in combat. Or was he one of those guys that was in somewhere else? I think Thailand. Some people went to Thailand or Laos and stuff, and they may not have been allowed to wear their patch at that point, because that was a long time ago. But he was from Guam. Good guy. I felt like I didn't know I was like I didn't know anything back then. I'm like empathic and I can connect and and his wife's walking off with the kids. I'm like, "Ooh." And little did I know is he wanted me to go after and take care of his wife, because I was receiving, but I didn't know he was receiving. I was like, what is that? But it wasn't like him telling me that. I just felt like, hey, I want to go take care of that woman, because he was standing there in the spirit. I go, come on, hey, go watch after my wife. Because I'd be the guy he trusts, I'm sure of it. Yeah, he didn't go. I really even would have had a better career than I did. That guy really, was happy with what I turned out to be after he went to Egypt and all that. I was a hard worker, and I was running all that PT on my own, and But he was like a real platoon sergeant. I mean, he was great, but you know, he wasn't going to connect to you that much. he, he wasn't that interested in being your friend. But we went to his. He had a party, and it was another Guamanian dude. But I think he got out of the army before we went to Egypt. And that guy, that guy, the both of them, they make raw venison. They pickle it or something like that with hot peppers and stuff. That was pretty good. Went over there, we drank a few beers, had some food. I guess that's why I connected to her. I guess that would be normal, right? Because I was like over there twice a couple times. Right. I was at this one place where they had like this nympho woman. Go with that sergeant's same house. And like I didn't partake. I was just like, eh. They just all like went upstairs. I'm like, okay, bye. Let me get another beer. Like she was married or something. The husband goes to work and then they get a guy in. It was one of those things, you know, gets a shotgun and kills everyone. Listen to my wife goes, huh? Yeah, crazy days, huh? You know, my big thrill was a beer and a what was it? The shop at chicken, right? That's about it. Fucking fried chicken type stuff at the shop at, and put some money in the machine and watch a video, music video, you know. What was that shop at called? I forget. And I bought a bicycle and I didn't ride it and I sold it for like cheap. I don't know. I was asleep. What do you expect? You know? I just took care of my uniform, looked the best I could, and that was about it. Actually, there was a point in there where my hair started getting long and all that stuff. It was kind of weird. But again, I'm asleep, so they're cursing me off because they see me pulling ahead, right? So they start cursing me. I mean, not long, obviously. But they're like all these drunks and stuff, you know, in my unit. I mean, like, I get up and I want to run PT, right? I'm into it. they're just going, oh, we got to get this. Oh, no, we got to run PT now. You know, they drink till like 4 a.m. on a Tuesday or something. I did that once at Phil's. Maybe it was like self-medicating. I don't know. I was asleep again. But I was at Phil's funeral. You know, we were part of the funeral detail. Phil Caudle from Ohio. And I got my mother to give us a credit card for the bar at the hotel. Oh, that was bad. We got upstairs like 4:30 or something. Woke up 5:30. Got all dressed up. And then, like, you know, with a Baptist, like a real, you know, strict Baptist church. I'm good people, but the preacher, of course, was looking at us and sinners. Like, yeah, he knows. But yeah, you know, I mean, I admit we drank to excess. So we did the funeral detail on him. It was horrible. But again, we were 101st and they beat us up all the time. So you're used to that kind of thing. You get beat up and then. So we had the ability to make it through it. And the other guys, they did that every day before PT anyway. So. Then we were in Korea. And one of my roommates, they sent me over to headquarters because Sergeant Grant wanted me in headquarters, and I was teaching like SAPR explosive stuff and all that. So at some of the training stuff we were doing, or demolitions, and and then I was like putting together this package for packages, like if you wanted to join the old guard, you do this. If you wanted to go to the Rangers, you do this. So I was like trying to, give people options for their life. Of course, they're killing me though, because I'm a cheesehead because they put me in headquarters and platoon, and I'm not. It's not like a good fit for me, but I can do administrative stuff great, obviously. That's part of why I left the Army. I was just like, they kept putting me into bullshit. I'm trying to get to the 10th mountain. I'm not going to Monravia or whatever it is. I'm re-enlisting. You're supposed to give me an option. Somebody set it all in motion, believe me. So we have this inspection. I can't even remember. Is this who was in charge? I guess this new first sergeant came in. Sergeant Grant either left or went back to a platoon or became ops. I don't remember what happened. But Sergeant Grant was the first non-commissioned officer in charge of the SAPR leader course. He was my platoon sergeant. And then when he went to headquarters to be the first sergeant for a while, as filling in, he he took me with him, and then he treated me like shit. I don't know. I think somebody said something to him. I think it was part of the setup. He went to check on my extension, and then he was an asshole after that. So somebody said some bullshit. Probably why I wasn't extended also. They canceled my extension. But I called, like I said, Senator Hines and burned them back. And there was another guy, and he had the same issue that I had. And he was from New Mexico, and I think his father was or stepfather was the senator of New Mexico or something. So he went and called him. No, when they denied my extension, I guess guy got angry. But then I went to the Big Red One, and that wasn't too bad. I mean, that was a good unit. It was mechanized, but it was, fit. So that was cool. I like that. And I think he's a sergeant major. What was his name? I don't even remember. Got an S, I think. What was it? Sergeant Major Sherrard. That's it. And and I'm asleep, so I wasn't awake then. But Sherrard used to hate people that weren't really fit. Now I was really fit, but I'm like a Christian mind if I'm not, a Christian per se, going to church all the time. Well, I did go to church at the Big Red One for a little bit, but in Junction City at the Korean American Baptist Church. So Southern Baptist affiliation. So there was this guy who used to fill in. Our preacher looked like Charlie Daniels back in the day. That was perfect. It's okay, yeah, you look normal. You're a preacher. And this guy came and looked, actually, after being a correctional, he looks like a correctional officer, actually. With a beard and a mustache. Grizzled old correctional officers. So he starts preaching, but he was great. I mean, was it Ken? His preacher Ken was the guy's name, the one that I couldn't tell you his last name. But Ken was our regular preacher, and then something happened, and this guy had to fill in. And he was a little more fire and brimstone, or I don't know if it's fire and brimstone, but he's a little more fired up, and that was pretty cool. But Sherrard, he just me. people that aren't physically fit, I see them as victim. Gerard wants to victimize them. Ended up doing something that rhymes with victimize. So Sergeant Rafe Gerard really liked me, but he wanted me to re-up. And my first sergeant something was wrong with my first sergeant. He was a Mormon. I guess they wanted me to hate Mormons. he's probably the reason I didn't stay in. He was a new. He was actually, I don't know if he was a first sergeant, or just his acting. I think it was our second platoon sergeant or something like that, and he became first sergeant. It was a bad timing for that. But I did go off and really, I got to be in the BOP and the Marshal Service, and I think it's just, I should have woke up the first day in the DOJ, if not 10 years earlier. So again, it was already corrupted. And I did get my call for Afghanistan in like 2002, but they were horrible. And when they found out about it, they increased the operation to take me out. I was going to put the Marshal Service career on hold and go over to Afghanistan. I said, the buzz. In my mind, it was like stupid because I'm asleep. But obviously, they said go to Afghanistan. But they have, when you're asleep, something has to hit your head to make you make the decision they want you to make. So it says, well, I've already been to Iraq. I'll go to Afghanistan. And then I told Big Dummy. Who else did I tell? I don't know. Was Big Dummy the traitor? Did they pay him Big Dummy to tell him everything I said? But I mean, they just destroyed me after that. And then when I went to the website of the Inspector General of the DOJ, they did it again. So again, it's all spycraft. So that's how they create criminals. They're just constantly carrot and a stick in the wrong direction. In other words, carrot and a stick means they reward you and then they punish you, but they do if you do something wrong, they reward you, so you'll keep going in that direction. And eventually it becomes subconscious. It just becomes second nature that when they do that, you go in the directions they want. Or, you can play them a little while, make them think you're going that direction, so they'll let you be for a while. And then turn your report into the FBI and find out that they're part of it. So again, they're saying, and I don't know, but they're saying that whistleblower is one of those people that we're trying to get rid of because they're committing crimes and causing other people to commit crimes and leaking information here, there, everywhere under the fabricated color of law. I think he might have a bench collar on. I'm not sure, but he doesn't really has it set right. If you don't have it set right, it doesn't work right. You may have a regular choke, but it did look like a pinch. But if you have it loose, it doesn't work right. You got to put it high on the head, and then like the back to the up. The top is up to the back of the head, kind of on the neck still, and then tight, and then you pull a little bit, and they go. So that Australian cattle dog that I had, and they were cursing away and everything, and it just got real bad, and the family ended up adopting it. Was fine, but that was one of the best dogs for training. That would have been a phenomenal search and rescue dog. That's why they were trying to take it out. They saw me go to the FEMA site. See, they're stalking me. So they see me go to the FEMA site and look at the requirements for search and rescue dogs. And then the next thing I know, the dog is no more. That's what our government's doing with all of the power and all the money. Devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers. Oh yeah, the homeless people. But this actually tells you what's happening to unhoused people. It's metaphysics. It's physical spycraft that they're trying to call crazy making and gaslighting, but it's a step past it. They've leaked it out of the agencies, federal, state, and local, and foreign places. And they're not even supposed to be using it, but they teach them how to do this spy stuff that forces people into homelessness. And it does include witchcraft. I mean, look, 20 years of that? How many people you can make homeless in 20 years? I mean, if every cop picked one person and made them homeless, how many people is that? I mean, it's a devil's smorgasbord. It's a demonic training ground. Not that woman works in the office. Are you the woman who works in the office? So again, you can't heal anything if you don't want it healed. That's the first part. I mean, some people know they don't want it healed and just, dear Lord. And, I don't know what they think they're doing. And again, when we look at things like I bring up the curse of Tutankhamun. So when you're messing around with the things that you're all doing, that's something similar to bringing up the curse of Tutankhamun. But all you have to do is go look at Luke 10 and you see the curse of Rabbi Jesus. Now, God will tell me, and I'll tell you what God just said. And remember, that's me speaking through Rabbi Jesus. And that's kind of what Jesus was hinting. So again, there were plenty of prophets that aren't in the book. There's plenty of people that weren't in the book that said a lot of different things over the years, kind of like myself. You will find no record of me except on my Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And when I die, that'll probably be erased as quick as they can. And you probably have trouble finding it right now, if you can find it at all. But there are officers that play along with the game and they get information by listening to what I'm saying in the podcast. And it changes the whole world. Because they would be dead or would be evil because they feel forced to being evil, but now they have power to fight that. Something happened, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It's in the news. Oh, I was just okay. I got it. Thank you. God stabbed me on the back. Hey, something you were supposed to speak about. Unless it's Bob. Is that you, Bob? Bob's good. Actually, Bob's an angel. I think he was an angel before he came to this planet, and then he left, and he's one again. He had work to do here, and you all messed it up. That's the way it came out. That Bob was you remember Angel Bob, but that's how God does it. And I know there's a lot of Bobs on the planet, and maybe they're all angels. I don't know. Doctor Who and all that stuff. Actually, before Angel Bob, that part of it, I think I had already figured out he was an angel, and his life was cut short. That's funny because my father may have been it. But with Giuliani, so this guy comes up, and I can't figure. He comes up in his car. And I can't figure if he's one of the deep staters. Just, what they'll do is they'll gauge you in conversation and, juke you at the end of the conversation. Right. So he's an older guy. And, he said he was on, I don't remember the name of the operation, the Iranian hostage rescue. And he said he saw some people, fried from the flames and all that. And, he said he got kicked out of the army because he ended up killing somebody that was trying to kill him. They didn't charge him with anything like criminally, but he said they put me out and they said there was no room for discussion because I think the individual was black. There was actually 3 of them, he said. And I think he did call 911 and they just didn't get there in time. Or he killed 1 or 2 of them or something. Or maybe all of them, I can't remember. But it's what he's telling me, so I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm having a conversation with an alleged veteran. It's probably a ranger or something like that. But at the end, I see we got speaking about the deep state stuff and the corrupt government and all that, and he said, well, and I said, they had it in for you already. If that would not happen to you with your status, if if that's your status in the army, that generally would not happen to you unless it was corrupt because it would happen to the private before it would happen to you. Could you be that protected? I said, so they were trying to take you out somewhere along the way. So we got to talking, and then when he left, the punchline was, well, the government's going to do what it wants. Who's going to change it? You. So I'm like, well, whatever. Because he pulled away, you can't respond to it. You know what I mean? I think that's what he pulled away, at least. But again, I didn't want to start an argument with him. But I think that's what he said right before he pulled away, which made it weird, So the next day, that's when Giuliani's thing came out. And my thought was, no, God will stop it. So the next day, the thing happened to Giuliani. I'm like, oh, okay. Who's going to stop it? And it's in there. All the information's in there. And we haven't had like a break like that in a while. A deep state break. Well, because the private investigators are former law enforcement, and some are law enforcement, active, and intelligence and all that. Like I told you, Trump and Giuliani, and that goes to the evidence to that allegation, which is true. Trump and Giuliani are part of the deep state. So they're just another warring tribe within the deep state, and they're going to do everyday Americans all they want when they want to. Again, the deep state is not only Democrats. The deep state is the beast in reality in the Bible, and Trump's part of it, and Giuliani's part of it. Giuliani just admitted to it in front of that woman. So that goes to that. And then he went to witness intimidation. So again, they're always trying to make you believe it's your fault. And boy, they move some extremely intense psychological operations in that direction. When I was in the Marshal Service, I felt like everything was my fault all of a sudden. But it wasn't. It was part of what the CIA was doing to my mind. And they're trying to trigger it again with what they're doing. So that's that was actually something I was going to go to. I can't remember where I was going to go with that. Well, part of it is this. When they make you believe it's your fault and you believe it or even hint towards it, the system won't punish them for it at all. And it's hard for God to do anything to them. So again, that's one of the reasons they do it. They know the difference between you believing it's your fault or, it being their fault, which it is their fault. And it's, it's obvious the Bible supports that. It's obvious that federal, state, and local laws support that. It's just, they're not. Again, their psychology is shit because there's no control of it. You just use it and put shit on people all day long while you destroy their life, and you never have to go to a trial or to the court to do anything but get a quick wiretap, and you could lie all day on a wiretap request as long as you never go to trial. See how the law enforcement system works? It's corrupt as shit. It's corrupt as hell. They get all this other activity they get to engage in and actually punish their victims without ever having to go to trial. And that was one of the issues also. They screwed everything up so bad they couldn't go to trial even with their lies. Because they were so bad at all the lies and all that. I mean, it was just like so overt. Not that there was anything there to go to trial for, because then I could hear the FBI in the background. He's admitting that he's committed a crime. That kind of shit. Anyway, this person has the lights on. What, is this person trying to fly under the radar? Is that the same person? Mm. Hopefully you're not stealing stuff from some store over there. Oh, it's going around the back of it, right? Or no? It's on the side of them. Trying to look at where he's going. See the kid with him, so I don't think he'd be doing that. So it is what it is. That's one of the things they do to make people believe that it's their fault. But it's weird because there's like, you're not, in other words, if nothing's your fault, you have that emotion, but it's not tied to anything because it's a psyop. So you're like confused at the whole thing. But they killed people, and they killed people for personal reasons of right of joy. Hang on, there was something I forgot to say. Pleasure. Okay, yeah, I got to say that too. To God, so God lets me know that it's God because I'm right here at the same spot where I remember the last thought. Okay, one of the things I was supposed to speak about is that I don't listen to music sometimes. I don't know if you read into that or not, but I stop when God tells me to stop. Because when I connect to the music, everybody that connects to the music gets an up, and the music gets an up, and the musician gets an up. Like, if I connect to your music, you could actually have be a comeback kid. Like, something in your life you never had another concert, and all of a sudden you have another 2-3 years of concerts. And like I said, the CIA knows this is true. Their idea is just take his blessing and screw him the same. And they try to tell people I'm doing penance or some shit like that. I mean, you owe me billions, all of you. So if I connect to it, they'll have pleasure in unrighteousness. In other words, even though they feel good about bad things, they'll feel even better about bad things. So I listen to a lot of Christian music, so do a lot of Christians. So they start feeling my connections to heaven because they're not blocked from it. They're not downed from it. So they attribute that to the musician and the music. And I'm not saying the music doesn't have any energy, but it doesn't have the energy I put into it. I definitely elevated Snatum Kerr's life, or Snatum Kerr's, whatever they call her. I don't have time for religions and languages that are used by bullshit artists. I work for CIA, and they kill people when they're asked to. Drug people when they're asked to. God will judge them, and I'm sure it'll go the direction I've been explaining. I mean, if you look at the Sikh scriptures, they get beaten in the mouth, in the face. I mean, it's that descriptive in hell for doing the things they did to me. But again, they're not real at all. The world's upside down. It's a clique thing. So again, what is a clique thing? It's Satan. So these cliques and these little groups of people are fake in everything they're doing. It's every religion has them. And back in the day, I call them the stars, and they're just not worth the time of day. But when it keeps going and you find it everywhere, then you realize it's the beast. I explained it enough. I told you to stop enough, all of you, that you should have stopped. And it's obvious you don't do that to people. I mean, it's sick. Well, the Partners, Partners is an organized crime entity and racketeering entity. And I'm sure they did some CIA work overseas over the years. A bunch of them probably have Silicon Valley jobs. They do the same thing. Yeah, some people got their citizenship off of it. Some people got, government contracts. Some people got money right up front. I mean, they always don't want you to leave because you're the cash cow. Like Oklahoma wants me to come back so bad. New Mexico wants me to come back because I'm the cash cow. We never had it so good as when they were paying them to kill me. I'm sure some money changed hands to take out, what's that guy's name with the shooting on Rust? Alec Baldwin. They paid money to take out Alec Baldwin, but they were outmaneuvered. Well, he's part of the screwed up world, but we miss a chance to mess them up. That was a deep state hit on Alec Baldwin. So, you see that it comes against Alec Baldwin. You say, well, he's a big money guy, all this. But your people are homeless. Your people are in jail in prison because they came against them the same way that they came against Alec Baldwin, who has all that money and all that power. And if I didn't weigh in it, I don't know how well it would have done. I mean, this is the fake that the CIA and FBI are playing like I'm a nobody, and that's where I belong in life. Well, I had work to do, and you're supposed to be a certain planet that you do A and you get B. I explained how religion works. I explained how the system works. They're physically stopping my ups, and they're waging spycraft, psychological warfare to stop them. And using millions and millions of government dollars because they're awarding contracts. So don't tell me they didn't award the contracts just so they could pay somebody to do this to me. They do the same thing with the super PAC money. So it's all demonic. It's all devil. It's all the beast. You have no value as far as getting to heaven, all of you, or any of you. So the bottom line is this. So in the Bible, you see where it says they will seal the foreheads. My forehead was sealed, whether it was some sort of weird physical thing that I was experiencing at the moment. It was still the physical manifestation of the metaphysical sealing of my forehead because they told me about that. And again, I didn't study a lot of this stuff at length before it happened. I did afterwards. Although some of it, obviously, I studied beforehand. So what I was told about the seals is this will get you places because you're trusted and you can help us in those places. Like they try to figure out how I get where I get because I'm sealed by God. Angel Ariel did it. And there were other angels there that reminded me at the time, but Ariel was the voice. I said, what's going on? I had a thought, what's going on? Something's writing on my forehead. It's like 2004 or something. Well, I was already healing things and all of that. I think I just become a vegetarian and was about to. So what happens is God doesn't have a choice. God can't let you into the places where the innocent beings are. I'm reversed. So Earth is reacting to what I say. So they do what's called a reversal, and they use their money to do that. Now, I just repelled it, but they're going to lose some money because they use their money to do that. They have to pay. Again, I'm fixing the system so they don't have that big credit account. So when they commit a sin, they have to pay for it. When they ask the earth or the devil to do something for them, they have to pay for it. They had a free ride for quite some time. So there's essentially, some of this could be off a little bit, but essentially we have what's called, what do they call that? The black holes. And they are something in a metaphysical sense. In other words, that's the physical representation of the black hole. When you go into the spiritual world, the black hole is something else. So again, I explained it where we have the lowest existence is here, which is physical. When you awaken, your physical spiritual connection is on. When you're in the sky, the Native Americans call it the sky. And let me see, would that be yeah, that'd be the heavens too. Not God's abode, not where God lives, not the final resting place of all creation and the beginning of all creation. It's the one below that. That's a spiritual, physical place. And then the top is physical, or not physical, on reverse is spiritual. The upside down of the existence. So, so where God is the spiritual location. So again, they're cursing me pretty hard. Somebody just eyes on cursed me. And I lost my track here. Okay, so the black hole is in in this part of the world is what you see in physics and all that. But if you go into a spiritual, physical place, which is where the Garden of Eden was, and we're not in a spiritual, physical place, and that's where the sky is. We are Native Americans, speak about the sky. That's spiritual, physical. The black hole is something else, and if you're not sealed, you can't get through it. So again, I know it sounds like Dungeons and Dragons. When I woke up, that was the first thing I thought. I said, "Oh my God!" So before I woke up, but it was already happening. So I'm in Jim's basement. I lived in Jim Spicer's basement for a little while. I mean, I was pretty heavy drugged. I was really heavily drugged, and I was trying to repair, like what's happening right now. I'm repairing. So my body's restoring. So I'm down there, and I'm looking at TD Jakes, and I'm looking at some of the others, and I'm like, what bullshit. Because remember, I was a fundamental Baptist or something. I'm like a bunch of devils. So I go and I talk to Jim. Somewhere along the way, I talked to Jim about it. And Jim's like, right, Lair, right. But like within a month, I'm like a healer. I'm looking at TD Jakes going, right. But one of the strange things is, speaking about me doing certain work, and of course it's God doing it through me, but God would send me into these cities to heal them. And it may have been, some other reason that I was there or whatever it was, but there would always be this billboard at TD Jakes. So I'm going into the city and I'm healing the city, and then TD Jakes comes into the city. Like, the next week or the next month or whatever it was. So I'm driving around in like a car, finding all the hot spots. A mosquito just got me. But the reality being that God can't let any of you into a heaven. Well, there's innocent beings there. What you're doing in the church is ravenous wolves. So he can't let you there. Now, you have to understand, those people you might like a murderer. You can't let them in, but God knows the inside, that person's not really like that. And God can allow them to go places. There are other places that are similar to, I guess, purgatory. No, I wouldn't say purgatory, just kind of a holding pattern. God will talk to you. Like God and the angels and the Spirit spoke to me after I was, after the Marshals would have theoretically killed me and all the FBI and the CIA and all that, but I made it through and I was alive, and, I was kind of waking up, and God was speaking about a few things. So if you're like put to death on earth, God might take you to the Garden of Eden. That's where he took that guy, Tookie. Arnie messed that one up. So the guy Tookie that was like a gangbanger, but when he was in prison, he began the Scared Straight program and a bunch of other programs, and he was doing well, and they killed him, and he freaked out. I mean, when he got to have, because you wake up and he's in the Garden of Eden by a pool of water, and he's just freaking out because I can't believe they killed me after all the work that he did, all the penance and repenting and all that. He just was amazed that they still put him to death. And Arnie, Arnie's such a liberal, seems like, And maybe, Arnie, to his credit, that's what maybe, and he's not again enough, I would say. He goes back and forth, kind of wishy-washy. But I think that may have been what caused Arnie to become a little more liberal. He may have, had a Scrooge moment, an epiphany that he made mistakes in putting people to death. So that's where Tookie went after he left. He went to the Garden of Eden by a pool of water. It's a little waterfall. And, after he was, I don't know if that was the first scene I saw of it. It was probably something I saw later where he was like, couldn't believe that they killed him and all that in the death penalty. But the vision kind of showed him sitting on a rock and God's talking to him about what happened in his life, the reality of why he ended up being a gangbanger and, how it all worked in prison and why they still put him to death after all the good works that he did and all the penance he did, helping the youth not become what he became in life. So Arnold Schwarzenegger really bowled that as governor of California. Well, the system's upside down. Like, they're coming after me, but yet all the real dangerous people are doing whatever they want. I lived in a place where and they even hire the real dangerous people. Cops have told me a million times in the mine, just a psychic blip, but they were saying, what's going on? We're out here and the FBI's hiring people that we think we should be investigating, yet we're going after people that we shouldn't be investigating. These are, he was a criminal. No, they're still active criminals. They're using drugs. They're drinking. Why? Because the FBI wants crime committed. You hire a criminal, right? Their theory is, well, we have to do this because Moore's a criminal and hanging out with criminals. But yet they keep me here, right? Won't let me live in a normal place. In fact, they move people in as my neighbor. So they're big into some sort of psychological operation. They'll tell you you're trying to shut me up, but no, what it is, they're trying to get control of my thought process so they can get me to do what they want me to do. Like I told you, there were several things happening on Twitter. I surmise spies were manipulating the things to confuse the mind, to twist the mind, while attempting to force me into pornography. No, it's force. Spycraft forces you. It also includes witchcraft. And again, we're speaking about the government platform. That's a higher platform. There is no church out there, so don't start the bullshit that if you're with God, you would be safe. That's bullshit. You're all with Satan. That's why you're all safe. There is no church out there to go to. There is no religious people that are holy, pure, and set aside. They're all ravenous wolves playing their game out. If you're a real person of God, you can't walk into a religious establishment without somebody trying to make dollars off your back or Satan credit off your back. It used to be, they say, well, Satan's in the church, Satan's in the pew before you are, that kind of thing. But at this point, Satan owns the church. Satan owns the religions. And who is that Satan? The deep state, as you all call it, but it's also known as the beast. Understand something. I told you a million times, and I'm not going to equivocate. You keep trying to change my thought. Jonah did not want to prophesy because if he prophesied and the people changed their activity, the prophecy would change. The future would change, and then they call him a false prophet. So again, even back then, people were ignorant to what prophecy was. So it doesn't matter what it says in the Bible. That could change the next day, actually 5 minutes after it's spoken, and did. What Jesus spoke was studied by Satan, and he took over all the religions with it and reversed the work back to the way it was before Jesus came. Now, your Christian nationalism scam doesn't work. It's all Christian nationalism or that kind of twisted bullshit. Whatever it is to play their game out. And of course, well, if I could do it different 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 15 years ago, yeah, but if you were broke again, or not broke, or were in that position in life, you do it all over again. Just because you have money now, you say, oh, it's not so important to have done that. You wouldn't be a millionaire if you didn't do it. Because you're a worthless piece of shit. You wouldn't even be in government, any of you. Because you're worthless to the government. You only value to crime, committing crime, and forcing crime, and causing crime, and being a criminal. Oh, but we're saving the world. It's bail reform that's messing everything up. Not bail reform, believe you me. The devil's driving around in squad cars. That's what it is. Full-fledged devils. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.
Listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.